It's time for Twig. This week at Google, Jeff Jarvis, Stacey Higginbotham, and Pruitt are here. We'll talk about the attempt to unionize at Google and what the company is doing about it. We've got the latest on Samsung's big event coming up next week. The Bean Dad apologizes. They found Jack Ma. And we'll watch as both Twitter and Facebook take down the president's posts. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 593, recorded Wednesday, January 6th, 2021. That's not sweet tea. This Week in Google is brought to you by CacheFly. Give your users the seamless online experience they want. Power your site or app with CacheFly's CDN and be 30% faster than the competition. Learn more at twit.cachefly.com. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show we cover the latest news from the Googleverse, the Twitterverse, the Facebookverse, and the universe. Aunt Pruitt is here from Hands On Photography. Hi, Aunt.
Hello, Mr. Laporte, et al.
Et al.
How's everyone?
Anson is that concrete or wood? I can't tell.
I will never tell.
I'm not talking about your muscles, dude. Also with us, Jeff Jarvis, the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University.
Am I
of New York.
et or all?
Et al.
So am I et and all, or is Stacey et or all?
Are you saying
I'm et and y'all.
Et y'all?
That's more like it.
Well played.
Stacey Higginbotham. She is from StaceyOnIoT.com, an IoT and chip guru, the geekiest of the bunch.
Yes.
So great to have you, Stacey. And Stacey and Ant are both wearing, what do you call that pattern? Where you got sleeves of one color and a breast of another color?
No. Baseball?
It's like a
What is
baseball shirt. Yeah. That's what it is.
Baseball shirt. That's all I know.
Yeah. Nice. You sent out a memo? Did you guys work on that?
Well,
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I'm feeling left out because y'all are all black and gray, and I'm like,
Yeah, we're
Bring in the
somber.
I was going to say,
Color.
I saw you earlier this morning at the studio and Mrs. Laporte, and y'all were in all black, and I felt left out, so I went ahead and
He
changed.
commented as he was going, I was coming. So Lisa and I are both in black. I don't know. It was just by chance.
They both walked in like villains.
You know what? I'll tell you.
It's all I own.
The secret. Yeah, I know. Jeff's always in black. The
Oh, I don't
secret of television stars like me is we put our wardrobe left to right. So I take what is on the left, and when I'm done with it, I put it on the right, and that way it rotates, right? So every 15 shows, I get an entirely black outfit. It's like roulette.
I respect that.
The three reels.
it's the opposite of roulette. It's planned.
Planned roulette.
I respect that. I don't know if
But
it's
there's
true,
three
I respect
reels.
that.
There's jacket, there's shirt, and there's trousers.
Slots. Then it's slots.
Okay. That's what I meant. Slots. It's a slot
I don't even know how to
machine.
gamble, but I know this much.
It is
She
a
knew that
slot
much.
machine. Yeah, I told you she was the smartest of the bunch. So Google's in a little bit of, Google has had a very interesting, no good, very bad 2020 that is now stretching into 2021. I don't know. It seems like they were kind of fighting unionizing at Google. In fact, according to Motherboard.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't a seam.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. According to
they were.
Motherboard,
Yeah,
they
no, there's no
hired a
doubt.
company called IRI Consultants. It's a union avoidance firm, kind of like the Pinkertons, a detective firm. Apparently, there was this Motherboard article said that this union busting firm, which is what it really is, compiles dossiers on employees. They didn't get information about their Google research, but they got a spreadsheet created in an attempt to thwart a union drive at 2 Seattle hospitals in 2019. And every employee was in the spreadsheet categorized by personality, temperament, motivations, ethnicity, family background, spouse. It's kind of like what you would do if you got
That's just their HR file. That's what Google does to everybody, I'm sure.
spouse's employment, finances, health issues, work ethic, job performance, disciplinary history, and involvement in union activity, Each employee was then giving a rating for how likely the company believed they were to vote for the union. In notes for one employee, according to Motherboard, IRI consultants wrote they were lazy, money-oriented, aloof, from Samoa, tired of people on team and doesn't want to assist them, and told the managers the union is full of crap.
This is gold.
This is like what you do in jury selection, right?
This is also like the dossiers that PR firms keep on journalists.
Oh,
It's
I
not
bet
quite
you.
as extensive, but
Yeah. Stacey
Have you ever seen one
Higginbotham.
for you?
Lazy, money-oriented, aloof.
I have seen
Samoa.
parts of my dossier.
Have
and
you?
Really?
Yeah.
Dvorak always...
What do they say? What do they say about you?
Mostly that they're what you would expect. They're like Stacey's really informed and is terrible. They also say that I'm terrible at answering emails. All of this is true.
Well, from Flax, yeah.
But from Flax, they also said I tended to be sympathetic. This was distressing.
Yeah,
So
that would
I
hurt.
don't
That
know.
You
hurts.
take that as an
Ouch.
insult, right?
You could say I'm from Samoa, but don't say I'm sympathetic.
I'm hopeful that part of it, I didn't see the whole thing, but maybe that's more because I focus on technical stuff. I don't know.
I don't think you're sympathetic. I think you listen and understand. You're not out to get anybody. Maybe
No.
if you're in PR, somebody who's not out to get you is sympathetic. Probably. I would guess.
So, Stacey, in your
Yes.
earlier Cub reporter days, when I would do a story on somebody like in San Francisco, and they would a subject would compliment me on the story, my reflex was to think, what did I do wrong?
For some of my stories, I mean, obviously there are two classes of stories when you're a Cub reporter. There's your basic
Yeah.
news, and then there's the profiles they assign you to get everybody on your beat accustomed to you. And those I never felt as bad if someone said it was a good story.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Dvorak took great pride, told this story for many years. He was walking around Microsoft, and one of the head of I think it was the, I can't remember her name, but she eventually started her own firm, but she was in charge of Microsoft PR at the time, had an enemies list on the chalkboard, and his name was on it. He took great pride in that.
He would. If anyone would, he would.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm on the enemies list. Yeah. That's kind of, you want, if you're a journalist,
I like that, though.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
I kept a letter from threatening to sue me for some of my reporting that they never actually did, and I kept the SEC filing an inquiry from that same thing. So that was a point of pride. I was like, ha ha ha.
I have
Somebody
attack
didn't like
letters.
my review of a, I think it was a time-lapse camera. Some company didn't like what I thought of it, and next thing you know, they sent all of their fans after me, telling me I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know how to check the settings, and yada yada yada. And I just laughed it off and
I hate
released
that.
my folks on them and said, "Hey, here, have at it, troll them."
I really hate that. I just, that's why
My
honestly,
internet army will defeat yours.
I don't ever I don't want to hear from PR people. I don't take freebies. I just, it's not. I used to have to do that.
It wasn't a freebie or nothing. It's just I did my review.
No, I just don't want to have a
didn't like what I
relationship with
reviewed.
them. Yeah,
He doesn't
no,
want to have a
I don't want to have
relationship.
any relationship with them at all.
I have 2 attack letters from Bill Cosby.
Well, now that's a badge of honor.
Maybe it is. It is. I'm very proud
Wait,
of it.
was
Name
it
dropper?
post or pre?
Oh, it's pre. It was a
It
long
was
time
free,
ago.
but I still take great pride in it.
Is it because you reviewed
you
the
hate
Cosby Show? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I said when I'm a former TV Guide critic, don't forget. We have to add that to my lower third. So I liked Cosby. I loved Cosby in the early days, but then when he got preachy, I said so. He got enraged. He sent me a tin cup and said, where are the flowers for my funeral? It made no sense, but that's what he did. When we started Entertainment Weekly, I had a fake cover that was out in the junk mail that said "Kiss Cosby Goodbye." It was about Murphy Brown and Roseanne Barr, and he managed to find a copy and got at the time very expensive work done to have it redone. "Kiss Jarvis Goodbye."
Wow.
Wow.
Nowadays with Photoshop, any tweeter can do it.
It'd take any second. Yeah. I had a whiny letter from Alan Thicke asking me to stop making him my
Punching bag?
yeah. Right.
That's a good word. That's what Stacey
And
wants to
then,
make me.
while I'm bragging, I don't know if Frank Sinatra stopped in the middle of a song
What?
at the Circle Star Theater in San Carlos, California, to call me a bum.
As that bum.
Wow.
I saw Frank
Were you
Sinatra.
heckling
Was
him?
it the Rat Pack? I saw him at Circle Star. Was it with Sammy?
It was some
and-
benefit.
Oh,
no,
it
it
was
was
a
actually
benefit.
a different concert I'd covered that was a benefit. And then he did a paid concert in Circle Star.
Wait a minute. He said,
and he
"Hey,
stopped.
there's Jeff Jarvis." That
No, I
bum."
wasn't there. I'm driving the next morning, Saturday morning, and I'm listening to the radio because that's when we had radio. Hey, kids, it used to be that we turn it on and it came through the air.
What's that, Grandpa?
I know. And so somebody said, did you hear about Sinatra last night? Yeah, he went after Jarvis. He stopped in the middle of singing My Way to go on a rant and call me a bum. I was so
Wow.
happy.
Honestly, you
that
buried
is where
the
I would
lead.
put my rant.
That's the very first thing I'd put on the list. Sinatra called me a bum. That should be on your tombstone. That's awesome.
Well, it might have been. So friends sent me black flowers afterwards because I was going to.
Oh, wow. Well, anyway,
His
back to
montage.
Google.
Right. Sorry.
Jeff's
really-
little ego
This
moment.
week.
We really went down a rabbit hole there. So that's not the, apparently,
Union.
according to Motherboard, IRI Consultants was asked, but they had no comment. But there is another consultant from at least one other union avoidance firm. So
They got them all.
So Google, the other shoe that dropped on this is the Google's several hundred Google employees have now unionized, which is something that does not happen often in Silicon Valley. The Alphabet Workers Union.
Awoo!
400 Google engineers and other workers. Engineers is important because those are the most valuable workers at Google. Those are the ones that you work the hardest to get. You recruit hard. You want to get the best. There's a lot of competition. And it's hard for Google to piss them off, as you know, because when the engineers have said, no, we don't want to do that defense work, Google said, okay. Having them unionize is a big deal. The union, the Alphabet Workers Union was organized in secret, according to the New York Times, for the better part of a year, elected its leadership last month. They're part of the Communication Workers of America, which actually
They now have job security.
Yeah. Do they? Apparently.
Well, yeah, you can't. If Google fired any of them,
Yeah.
they've got their pictures on the union's homepage. They have
Right.
a union homepage.
Yeah.
And the pictures are there. No, you cannot fire them. You get in deep trouble.
So
Yeah, CWA is very, it's a problem for many telcos and
they also
such.
represent media too, apparently.
But didn't Google see this coming though, considering all of the bull
Yeah,
crap
that's
that
why they hired all
pulled?
those pink.
That's why they hired the companies.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. The Alphabet Workers Union is a so-called minority union because Google has 260,000 employees and only 400 union members. Workers said it was primarily an effort to give structure and longevity to activism at Google rather than negotiate for contract. And that's because Google has been, it's alleged, pretty active in censoring, punishing, even firing activists at Google.
Wait. Let's also say that they're not negotiating because they're all paid incredible amounts of money.
Right.
And so it's, unless you're a guard, and they are letting the freelancers in, but basically Googlers are so damn rich that to have them poor mouth as a union isn't going to play very well. So it's a different matter.
Yeah, in fact, that's exactly what Chewy Shaw, an engineer at Google and vice chair of the union's leadership council, said. Our goals, I love the name Chewy.
I love the name Chewy. I want to be Chewy.
He's named after a Wookiee, apparently. Our goals,
exactly. I love that.
Our goals go beyond the workplace questions of are people getting paid enough? Our issues are much broader. It is a time where a union is an answer to these problems. Google's director of people operations, Kara Silverstein, says, we've always worked hard to create a supportive and rewarding workplace for our workforce. But of course, our employees have protected labor rights that we support. And as we've always done, we'll continue engaging directly with all our employees. So I don't know.
I
what
think
this
this
means.
is really interesting, and it could be a debacle in the sense. So what I think is most interesting is that this is having both the engineering and the contract workers. Which, if you look at the tech industry, the tech industry is like, if you're not an engineer, what is your freaking point? You're
Right.
like a freeloader on the back of
Right.
an engineer.
We're carrying you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that's if you're a professional like accounting, marketing, CFO, or if you're, God help you, a janitor or a driver. I mean, so I think the fact that all of these are together could be good if it helps engineers understand the concerns that other workers have. But it also could be a debacle because the engineers are going to want and aim for things that a bus driver is like, I don't care about this. So I just think it will be interesting to see, given the power dynamics here and the perceived value that engineers have, if they will use that only to their advantage, if they'll learn, or if it will just not work because they can't come together.
So our chat room says that they should let the Wookiee win.
Well played.
Yeah, well played. It is not the only Silicon Valley company to be unionized. A Kickstarter employees have unionized. Glitch, this is from the New York Times article, and a small group of contractors at a Google office in Pittsburgh unionized in 2019. And of course, Amazon warehouse workers are set to vote in the next coming months about unionizing. There tends to be among young people and among the white-collar workers and elite in this generation kind of an anti-union sentiment. Like why they, for instance, they
my
pledged.
husband hates unions.
Not in media. Yeah.
I'm a union guy. I'm
Gawker
after it
and all that.
Yeah, but the Google Alphabet workers and union has to pay 1% of their salary to union dues. People don't like that. If you're already well compensated and you get good vacation time, your benefits are good, you might say, well, what's the union going to do for us, that we can't do already? There is definitely anti-union sentiment in this. Why does Andrew hate unions? He doesn't even have, employees.
He used to actually, way back in the day, he worked for AT&T. And he dealt with CWA people.
Oh, so from CWA.
You know CWA. He knows CWA.
Yeah, he's an old school Republican. I'll be honest. I mean, we have very different views on the world. I don't know where he stands now. I mean, I know he's not the today Republican because that's.
Yeah,
that was only when he was working.
That's cause for divorce
for AT&T.
Yeah, I was like, that's morally reprehensible. But he's a fiscal conservative and he's very pro capitalism. Although he's doing a lot of work.
Unions balance the capitalist point of view as well. I think Amazon warehouse workers are a perfect example of a group that should unionize.
Right. Oh yeah.
I'm sort of half and half on it. I get it from an employer standpoint. If I were in that leadership role, like you, Mr. Laporte, and versus being someone in the warehouse.
Very diplomatic of you to say that.
Yes, it is, man. I'm very impressed.
No, seriously, but it's. I see both sides of it. Queen Pruitt could have been a part of a union at one point in time, and I remember discussing it with her and saying, there's some good things because they can offer you certain protections in air quotes.
That's right.
That you can't get yourself.
It's collective bargaining, and I think that there's a lot to be said for that. But but there's also lots of examples of corrupt unions, corrupt union officials.
There's that.
There's a lot of other.
But you can't. I mean, if by that argument, I could say, well, capitalism and business just sucks because there's so many corrupt capitalists.
That's a good point.
Out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a reaction to the overwhelming power that businesses and corporations have over people.
That's right. Yes. And you could say the United Auto Workers really improved a lot of workers on Ford's assembly line and other companies' assembly lines. They really were a very powerful union, and then perhaps went a little bit in the wrong direction with Jimmy Hoffa and so forth. But
it's power.
Power.
It's power.
Corrupts.
Yeah, corrupting you.
Yeah. Yep.
So here's my wish. Here's my dearest wish. I want at least a special, if not a sequel, from Silicon Valley with episodes about the Google Union. Imagine a Google Union picket line.
That would be awesome.
I'm thinking they're going around the picket line on motorized scooters or skateboards, right? I think they get free lunch there. What would a Google picket line look like?
It would be full of Segways.
So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about as a union, they're like focused on things like free lunch or enough vegetarian options when the concerns of other workers
We're
are
striking
much more
for more vegetarian
those
options.
Are real issues.
I'm just saying that
no more beef.
But that was always what Silicon Valley did is they created an environment not merely to bust unions, because that was also how they recruited, but they really created an environment where you wouldn't want a union because you were so happy because you had nap pods and free lunch and free dry cleaning and, multicolored bicycles. So I can understand that Silicon Valley does. It is antithetical to the idea of moving fast and breaking things. It's just more of an impediment, and people like Larry Page, they don't want any regulations getting in the way. They want to innovate freely. I understand the tension there. I really do.
So remember when everyone talked about Google being the best place to work in the USA? Remember all of those press publications? And where is that now? Are people still trying to model after that type of environment for the workplace, or are they saying, oh, well, you know what, they overstepped their bounds a little bit, being a little too friendly, family friendly?
What do you think, Jeff? You wrote the book, What Would Google Do?
I think that's a really interesting question. It's really interesting, and yeah, Google #1 place to work was often a number of the week on the show because it came up, and that's really interesting, because in a way, did they screw themselves? If you compare, let's compare for a second. How about this? Amazon versus Google, right? So Google, here's the bikes, here's the lifetime benefits, here's the free lunch, here's all the swag, here's everything you want, here's all this, right? Amazon never went that route. Amazon said, this is a job, and we're going to be hard asses on you.
Very famously, they didn't have desks. They had doors on sawhorses, right? Jeff Bezos established
they don't have free food.
Yeah, he established this kind of frugality as a company value.
The last two companies that I worked for were just wildly different as far as culture goes. And the first company, we did try to have a bit of that fun environment the way Google tried to do it with their people, with having a lot more outings and just little random activities throughout the day, all while getting our work done. And then
I really hate those. Give me money.
Ours was a lot of fun, and then it started in the IT
nicer
department.
guy than I am, man.
It started in the IT department, but I noticed that it trickled over to the other departments, and it just sort of made the place just a great place to work. People were really happy to be driving in.
Then he came to work for us.
And no, hold on. And then I went to the next company, and it was like a whole 180 flip. It was totally different. Nobody knew who each other were. Leadership was, they just did what they needed to do, check the numbers, and they went on about the business, and everybody else just did their job. And that was fine, too, because you didn't have to worry about a lot of political crap. You just, hey, are we working today? Yes, we're working today. Get the job done, go home, end the story.
Yeah, go home
I respect
separate life
both,
and
though.
work. Yeah. So, Ann, to answer your question, I just looked up the Glassdoor Best Places to Work 2020. Everybody want to guess what #1 is? It's a technology company of sorts.
Foot Locker.
Salesforce.
HubSpot.
Wait, what?
Zappos.
HubSpot?
HubSpot.
That's the company
That's
that
in Seattle.
No, it's in Boston.
Boston, okay.
That's the company that our dear friend wrote that mocking book about. Andrew Keene.
Dan Lyons?
Dan Lyons, that's right.
Dan Lyons.
Dan Lyons.
Right, exactly. #2 is Bain and Company, because they're all effing rich. #3 is DocuSign. Get this. #4, you ready? In-N-Out Burger, because the French fries, right?
No, because
No,
they give
they-
their
they-
employees health care, and they pay more than minimum wage.
And the French fries are darn good.
And the French fries are pretty good, but you end up smelling like French fries when you go home from work.
That's true.
So it's a mixed
we
blessing.
skip down.
It was a win-win.
Companies I haven't heard of. Lawrence Livermore Lab is #6. Hey, let's make some nuclear bombs. That's a fun thing to do every day.
They do.
Google
Well, when you
comes
put
in.
it like that.
I'm
wanna
like,
guess where
science.
Google
I mean,
comes in?
research labs are awesome.
I know.
Where does Google-
Well, when I worked at the Examiner, I did a story on Lawrence Livermore inventing the neutron bomb. So Lawrence Livermore has done some things that may not be.
Hey, I just got a breaking story from Mike Isaac, who is a New York Times tech reporter. He says Facebook has, you may remember if you're listening to this later in the week, that as we recorded this, the Capitol building had been stormed. The president posted on his Twitter account and his Facebook account a video saying, "I love you, thank you, yeah, we won, but go home." And that video has now been removed from Facebook.
Oh,
And Twitter put up a rule that you couldn't like it or retweet it, but you could quote tweet it.
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that on Twitter, but dang,
Yeah.
Facebook totally pulled it.
That's according to Mike Isaac. And
They finally found some guts.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting because he does say go home.
Yeah,
He says,
but-
he
but-
whined for a little
Yeah.
bit, but he did say, "Hey,
it's go
people,
home
we
with
need
a
to do
wink.
the right thing.
Yeah.
Go home. Let's keep
No,
everybody
no.
safe." You know.
yeah.
No, that's a wink. It was still inciting. They're
It's
forcing me
interesting.
to say
Both
this,
Twitter
I'm a
and
hostage.
Facebook seem to agree on that. It's a, yeah.
It's not. I mean, he's already incited, and now he can sit back and be like, "Oh,
Exactly.
okay, y'all go
Throw it
home."
away.
Yeah.
All right, you want to know what number Google is in the top 100 places to work?
What?
Yes,
Guesses?
please.
Is it below In-N-Out Burger? Because honestly, if you gave me the
99.
choice,
It
I'd
is.
take In-N-Out. I mean, I'd take
It's below Southwest Airlines.
What?
Southwest
Wow,
is not a bad place to
Southwest.
work.
Yeah.
It's number 11.
Oh, that's not terrible.
12 is LinkedIn. 14 is Trader Joe's.
Where's Apple on that list?
Oh, and I say I can't search it. so let me
Way
see.
down there.
Really?
Apple's 84th.
84th.
Apple says
Yeah,
we don't
Apple
need your
hasn't
list.
bad-
We're Apple.
Oh, yeah, Apple's not a fun place to work.
Yeah, no, they're mean.
Wow.
That
I
the
know
old
so many
joke about
people.
fashion.
I know so many people, including people who worked for us, who took jobs at Apple. Now,
'Cause-
honestly, I think Google would be a great place to work, but
Yes.
it just seems to me that it would be a really fun place to work. But who knows? I really would rather work at Google. They're not taking into account pay scales because, honestly, I think the lowest paid employee at Google probably makes more than the best paid In-N-Out Burger.
Well, but
employee.
not everybody is motivated by. I mean,
Money?
after a
Yeah.
certain pay point,
Yeah.
you're kind of like, "Am I crushing people's spirits by taking this job?" And it's like working for Palantir. Some people would do it, but not everybody.
So where's Microsoft on the list?
Oh, I'd say,
I would work for Microsoft.
yeah, I'd say they're pretty
I
high.
like Microsoft.
Yeah.
They probably have
21.
climbed over the last decade.
What?
21. Where's
21.
Facebook on
Microsoft.
the list? Is Facebook even on the list?
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to work for Facebook.
Not now.
23.
Probably not now after all of the
23.
stuff
So,
they've dealt with
as
moderators
low as
and
Google
whatnot.
is ranked, it's still best among its peers, which is
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
And Facebook is better than Apple.
What?
Where's
Wow.
Salesforce?
Salesforce is number 12, I think it is.
Oh, right after
Let me
Google.
see.
Huh.
No, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
that
I'm
was
wrong.
LinkedIn.
I'm wrong. That's LinkedIn, right? They all look like.
Wait, LinkedIn and Microsoft are now the same commercial or same company. but okay.
Salesforce is 34,
Yeah.
below Wegmans at 30.
Anyway,
Anyway, okay, that was a lot of numbers for the week. Do I get credit for that?
Yeah, you get credit. You got numbers. You're done with numbers for the next 6 weeks. Google has a new. Oh, should I save this for a change log or is this the Nest Cam? No, it's not out yet. That'll be
Well, it's
a
a very
change log.
Stacey. I thought it was a very
Change
Stacey
log.
topic.
That's why I brought it up. I wanted to give Stacey something.
Yeah.
Throw her a bone.
Oh, I don't need your bones, Leo.
Google
Stinking
confirms
Bose
plans
ears, Laporte.
for new Nest Cam lineup. I use the Nest Cam IQ Outdoors, but that's apparently now discontinued. You can't buy that.
Yay.
Yay? Why yay?
No, I don't think. Well, here's what I think needs to happen. They need to redo their lineup with an eye towards today's costs because
Yeah,
we're seeing cameras
$300 for a
released the smart
camera.
home.
Yeah, is way beyond
It's
what
ridiculous.
Wise and yeah, and you credit to Wise for bringing that number way down, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even Logitech cameras, the Arlo cameras, which are expensive but are not that expensive.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Google says it
That's all
will
I really have
continue
to
to
say about
support its existing cameras with security updates and even new features. And they haven't released anything since 2017. In fact, I seem to
that's not
remember
true. They released it. Oh, in the Nest camera line.
in the
Okay,
camera
yes.
line. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think what they're doing, if we look at Google's like smart home device strategy, and I actually think this is not a terrible thing, they focus on cameras. Then they do a refresh of the thermostat. Then they do usually something different, right? So I don't think you need a new camera every year, for example.
Right.
I think it's totally reasonable to go 3 years. That's
Yep.
just me, though.
According to an FCC filing, they have also preparing a new Nest Hub. That's the screen thing with Soli gestures. Those are the gestures they built in the Pixel 4, never took advantage of them, and eliminated them from the Pixel 5. That's where you stop and swipe and all of that stuff. I think that might be useful in something that's static like that.
It should. And I don't know, we talked about this on our show this morning, but it's also having peripheral devices available that run with Bluetooth, and you also see Thread. So that's 3 really significant radio announcements there. Thread, because I think that's going to be the format for communicating using Project Connected Home over IP.
Right.
3, the Bluetooth peripherals mean something, maybe sensors? I'm trying to figure out what you'd like. Having your hub talk directly to things via Bluetooth is kind of neat.
There is something happened to so there's 2 kinds of Nest hubs. There's one with a camera, the Hub Max, and then there's one without a camera, which is the one in my bedroom. Now, when I come within proximity of the one with the camera, it says, "Oh, hi, Leo, here's your calendar, here's some," it knows it's me because it recognizes me. And it makes a sound, and it kind of announces that it's seen me. Just lately, in the last few weeks, the one without the camera has started noticing I'm around. And I'm baffled.
Which one?
The little screen.
The Lenovo one?
No, it's Google. That's a Nest Hub.
Wait a minute.
It's the little Nest Hub. Cameraless
It might be
one.
using your phone. Does it only happen when you're carrying your phone?
It must recognize, maybe, I don't know. It's just the same kind of thing that happens with the one with the camera is now starting to happen with a little one when I'm in the proximity to it. And I thought, that's bizarre. They're saying, now Scooter X says it uses sonics to do that.
Oh, is this... Yeah, it could be. Although, how would it recognize Leo? Or does it recognize people, or does it just automatically think a person is you?
Oh, that's a good question. Ultrasound sensing on the Nest Hub.
Ultrasonic in the Nest Hub.
It takes you to another level of convenience by customizing your favorite Google Nest display depending on your distance from your device.
Yeah, that's what we thought was Soli last time, but it wasn't. It was the ultrasonic.
It uses the speakers and the microphones to determine whether a person, I guess, yeah, you're right, it doesn't know who it is approaching within approximately 4 to 6 feet. Your device's speaker will emit soft sighing sounds. Oh, no, will emit soft, which would be nice.
Wait, what?
That was just me, fugue state, sorry. Soft, Leo. Inaudible, ultrasonic. Leo.
So good to see you.
It's you, Leo. Soft, inaudible, ultrasonic pulses, which are reflected off nearby objects in the room, the microphones. So it's using sonar to detect me. Wow. Occasionally, other things in your home environment may cause ultrasonic noise and may disrupt it for a brief period. Wow. That's a little bit on the creepy line.
No, it's not. We talked about this like a year ago. It's not creepy.
It's not creepy?
Basically like it's basically saying there is something here.
I
should interact with it.
You are here.
Okay.
Hello.
If it does the
What do we
sighing
call
and
it?
heavy breathing, that's creepy. But if it's just like
Amazon, on the other hand, is going to watch.
What do
you
we call
sleep.
it? Aware computing, self-aware computing. I remember that conversation last year.
Oh, okay. I must have forgotten it. Yeah.
you do more shows than we do about
I
this.
must have forgotten.
Did he
It
panic?
was right
or did I?
after.
It freaked me out.
Yes, we talked.
It
We
freaked
talked about
me
it
out
right
because I
after
thought, how do you
CES.
know
I
I'm
remember
here?
that.
I know
thought
how
this
my
is
other one
good.
does. I guess, yeah.
It's less intrusive than a camera. And remember, if you're farther away and you ask it the temperature, it'll give it to you in big type. And if you get closer, it'll smush it. So
Supposedly we'll do that. Yeah. I'm obviously not completely up on what mine can do because I just recently discovered I could watch TV on it because I subscribe to YouTube TV and I found out I could say, hey, Nest Hub, play CNN on YouTube TV, and I can. Last night when I went to bed and I was following the election results and I got tired, I just turned it on there and was lulled to sleep by Wolf Blitzer's gentle.
Can you tell it how long to play it?
Susurrations.
To go off.
Yeah,
at a
it
certain
has
time?
a sleep
It has a
mode.
sleep timer, yeah.
Okay, good.
That's kind of nice. You can watch the ball game.
Oh, you could just go to sleep.
Or I could just go to sleep. You know what I've
Well,
ordered?
speaking of sleep and sonar, we should just jump ahead for 1 second to the Amazon
Sure.
story online. 67, just to piss you off, Leo. told you what line it was on.
This is not actually. It's a democracy. I decided. Okay, contactless.
When we were on the year-end Twitch show, our relationship shocked the other participants. Like you guys really have a strange relationship. Paul said.
Did he say that? That's hysterical.
He did. I don't.
So this doesn't use
out.
sonar.
Radar
This uses
equipped radar equipped
millimeter
sleep
wave.
apnea tracker.
So this is actually like Soli. I'll tie it to Google for you here. Google's Project Soli also uses millimeter wave. They use radar as well to detect gestures pretty close. What this is doing, again, I don't think this is creepy, but it is important to understand how this works. It emits the signal, and when it uses the bounce back to see what you're doing. And it's basically what Amazon's doing that's worth noting is that it's created an algorithm to watch how you breathe to detect.
And that's obviously machine learning because
yes,
it's not something you could say, well, if it goes, that's snoring. It has to kind of, you have to put a bunch of sleepers in front of it.
It's about not breathing. It's
right.
I don't think it's doing the sound. I think it's sensing that you're
I
not
understand.
breathing.
It is, exactly.
No, it's right. It's looking at some part of either the rise and fall of your chest or the way your head jerks back.
Can it see air?
You can't breathe.
Can it see the movement of air, I wonder?
Think about how a bat uses sonar, right? Or think literally how radar works.
Yes.
Well, there you are.
You're throwing the RF signal out, right?
Yeah.
And it runs into something. It lets you know, oh, I ran into this. This is what that looks like. And the algorithm they figured out that they're running against this is they know what the pattern of sleep apnea looks like for that radar.
Obviously, with having done a lot of training.
Yes. This is not something,
You wouldn't necessarily know how to look for sleep apnea before you headed into this. This is a big push for Amazon into health tech. We talked about the Halo Fitness tracker.
They did kill their Haven effort, the health insurance effort with J.P. Morgan.
Did they?
Chase
They ended that.
Warren and Buffett. Yeah, they did that this week.
We really thought they were going to start to get into
yes.
the health insurance business. That's interesting. They did just launch their pharmacy service, though, right? If you can send them your prescription and they'll fulfill it. Kind of like
they're not leasing jets anymore either. They actually bought their own jets.
They're buying the jets.
They bought 11.
Passenger jets.
It was big Seattle news.
Did they buy new ones or used ones?
Used ones.
They're
They're
passenger
used.
jets.
767.
Delta and
WestJet.
Take that, Boeing.
WestJet. Thank you.
Yeah.
767s.
Well, at least they bought Seattle company jets, right?
Yep.
I don't actually know.
Yeah, 767 300s.
They're 767s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 of them.
They normally lease the 767 400s, but there's also
The price was too good to pass up.
Oh,
gosh, I just drew a blank.
they could have just snapped up all the 737 Maxes. It would have been, who cares if cargo goes down? No, I'm joking.
So
Obviously,
wrong.
you
So
care.
wrong.
I still have a
You care.
union, so
Yeah, right.
The Max is now flying again.
The Max, I know. Would you get on it?
Yeah, I would.
So I ordered. It's actually waiting on my doorstep right now. I think this might be crazy.
The Mach-E.
Yeah, no, I did. That's not waiting for me. I wish it were. I don't know whatever happened. Supposedly, I have an order in, but I don't know where it is. But that's another story for another day. Bose makes the strangest in-ear buds ever because you can't listen to music with them. You can't listen to podcasts or books with them. You can only listen to the 40 sounds on the Bose Sleep app, but they're designed to help you sleep. They're designed to leave in your ear when you go to sleep. I hope they're comfortable, but they lie flat in your ear, the sleep buds, and then
I'd be down for that.
they play ocean.
Is it the
sound.
intraoral beats? Oh, no.
No, well, I don't know. They're ridiculously expensive considering you can't listen to music with them.
Yeah, that's not. Now you've lost me.
But I'll tell you, well, and you know what we could do? I don't know. We could talk about it when I get them. But the reason is I have tinnitus in my ear, constant ringing in my ears, and it's getting louder. And you really hear it when it's dead quiet, at night when you're sleeping. Right. And I thought it might be because I can mask it with certain white sounds. I don't hear it. So I thought maybe what I should do is get these, put it on those sounds, and maybe that will help. So we'll see. I'm going to try it. We'll see.
I'm rooting for you on that.
It's like
That
earplugs.
sucks.
It seals, so it it gets, if you have a partner that snores or there's street noise or whatever that's keeping you up, it'll help in that regard. But I'm actually more interested in the cure for tinnitus.
So I'm envisioning kind of an IoT Stacy gone mad with all the things you can do in your sleep.
Well, the other thing, now that we mention it, I've got millimeter wave, I've got sonar waves, I've got RF in my ears. Is this all going to end up being carcinogenic? Are we going to?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me about different RF interference, which is actually a huge issue.
I don't care about interference. I just don't want to die.
Right.
Okay. There is research on some of this. Like, every frequency band is different, right? So millimeter wave is, for all we know, I mean, it's the stuff you run through in the airport.
Yeah, and remember how upset
I don't
people
know.
were about that?
Well, I don't know what frequency that it's at, but we're also doing a lot of 5G deployments. Deployments are at.
Well, we know that
millimeter wave.
causes COVID.
Right.
Oh, I forgot to mention.
So-
I also have a sleep tracker in between my mattress and box spring that I think
Is
doing.
it sending RF or is
I
it
think it
just
must be
a
RF.
weight sensor?
I don't know because
I mean, there's RF because it's got to send the data to the phone. But
well, no, it doesn't go to the phone. It's connected to a dongle which has Wi-Fi, so there's Wi-Fi, but that's
okay.
everywhere.
So then there's no RF going up.
No, but I think it must be sending out something because it detects heart rate, breathing rate, and motion. So it's
this
You got all of this
Nola or
around
Nora?
you
Sounds like
sending
a
these
weight
different
sensor.
pulses and waves. That's why you can't sleep.
well, I'm just thinking I'll add more things to it.
I envision a data visualization of all the rays going through Leo's body.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Right.
Oh, not to
Well,
mention
most
I
of
have an
it-
electric.
So millimeter wave doesn't go through. It attenuates so
Oh well,
easily.
It bounces
stays there and
off.
kills you.
None of this is the kind of radiation. What do they call it that can cause cancer? None of it is that.
Microwave?
No.
What took people out in
that strips out cell that can enter your cell. I can't remember the term. It'll come to me in about 5 minutes when nobody cares anymore.
It's well, see,
Ionizing,
all this
thank
stuff
you.
has ruined your
It's not
brain, so you
ionized.
can't
It's not
remember anything
ionizing
anymore.
radiation. So in
You
theory,
just need to take
it's
some
not dangerous.
Prevagen, Leo.
Prevagen.
Thank you, not
Have you been
Serotonin.
taking that? Because I feel like I'm
God,
getting
no.
stupider.
My nightmare is to end up on a plane when I finally get to fly again.
Yeah.
And my first flight, I'm stuck next to one of those Prevagen people.
You know, I'm 78 years old, and I think better than ever, thanks to Prevagen.
I'm a motivational speaker, and I take Prevagen.
You know
I
what?
wanna motivate you to take it.
You know what? Jeff,
you
you and I
talking
watch
about?
too much cable network news.
Oh my God.
I was like, I have no idea.
If you watch the 24-hour
really?
news channels,
Oh my Lord!
it's as if
constant.
everybody on watching those channels is in their 80s and they're dying of some malady or other. And then, oh my God, the worst
Well,
part,
they are.
I'm watching CNN.
I was about to say accurate.
I'm watching CNN. Tom Selleck comes
Hey,
on
hey.
to sell me reverse mortgages. So, okay, so quick, MSNBC. And there's Tom Selleck selling me reverse mortgages. You can't escape it. What is
Thank goodness I
Prevagen? Is
watch
that the
your
one
movies.
made out of octopus squid ink?
It's-
or what?
Yes, it's made out of squid or something, right?
Oh,
It's
God.
and there's no how. The amount of money they spend on advertising is unbelievable.
Well, apparently it's very expensive, somebody's saying in the chat room. I don't.
Oh.
I'm not tempted.
No, I'm not either.
No.
I don't like those people.
It's a supplement. As we know, FDA does not regulate supplements. So,
Anyway,
The FTC.
EMF,
So
RF.
what is this
charged them with false and deceptive advertising last January.
oh, Prevagen? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Well,
So that 5G, huh?
how about that 5G?
Yeah. So this is the contrail of technology. I would say is the RF
Right.
cancer thing. So there's research that shows that the research is not definitive. I'm not super worried about all of this, but you heard me. I was more excited, like, oh, are we going to talk about how we manage the interference between all of this? Because there's a
Yeah,
lot
how
of
do we
radios in your
manage
house.
that? Look why don't you start that? I have to go get a drink of water. Go ahead, and I'll be back.
It's super nerdy, like electrical engineering stuff. This is what I read in like
Bring it.
EE Times or no. Well, I don't even know how to do this. I mean, this is like magic antenna stuff. You know, antennas are like the dark magic of the internet, right?
Right.
But if you think about it, most homes will now have 5 to 6 different plus cellular. So this is just in our homes, local networks, and then you've got cellular, and then you've got whatever that like sub-gigahertz that's in your microwave or your baby monitors or your garage door opener. But we've had those for years. Anyway, I can't tell you how to manage this because I'm not a electrical engineer. I'm sorry, but we can come into a different story if we want to go back to our.
Let's take over. It's not a democracy. It's just like the Capitol. We've taken over.
Of Twitter and its recent acquisition of Breaker. You know, considering what's happened in the podcast world with Spotify gobbling up everybody and Stitcher and iHeartRadio, and so now Twitter hops in to buy Breaker for its Twitter Spaces.
And I think it's audio is the next thing, right? It's having audio chat, audio Twitter. What's that country club?
Clubhouse?
Is that what it's called?
Clubhouse. That's what it was. Clubhouse.
So that's the thing is I think they want help with their Twitter Spaces. I think audio is the audio space is the. I'm trying to do what Stacey did a minute ago.
Wait, you got to wave your arms more. Then
this is the AR of audio.
Really, I like hanging out with people. The AR. I think he's. Is this my contrails of the technology? Is that
chemtrails?
Thank you. I was trying to
chemtrails. That's it. Contrails.
Contrails are real.
Yes, chemtrails.
We knew what you were getting at.
Thank you.
I was not going to correct her.
Oh no, you should. You should. I don't want to mess things up.
I do worry because I just was looking at my Wi-Fi setup. I have 70 different devices on my Wi-Fi. There's a
wow.
Yeah.
I only have 30.
That's actually pretty normal, though.
Well,
right?
I think it probably is.
Day and age, that's pretty normal. With
that's
everybody, there's at least 5 people in a household nowadays. Everybody has some sort of phone. Everybody has some sort of laptop. Everybody has some sort of tablet. And then you start to get all of these other smart things. That number jumps up pretty daggum. 71
clients.
TVs. Everybody's got a television.
All sorts of stuff. Now, what I did do, what we were talking about, was try to segment.
Comcast, I'm going to give you a piece of data. Comcast says there's an average about 12 devices in people's homes, and their power users connect up to 50 devices.
I'm a super power user.
There it is.
So of course. I just want to give you some data there.
I would expect
you want to see the map? This is the map of my. Oh, that's trippy.
Look at Windows doing its thing for you.
There's the map of all the devices and the switches and the routers and the hubs. I don't know. They're multiplying.
They're
oh
multiplying,
my God!
Yeah.
Apple can't handle your display.
No, there's something going on there. But I did, Stacey. I did do the segmentation. Actually, there were so many IoT devices that I decided, okay, you guys can have the network. And I'm going to make a new network that's just secure because there's only like 6 computers and phones and things. Almost all of those 71 devices are IoT.
Hold on. I have this guy. I'm going to give you guys a freebie. His name on YouTube is The Hookup.
The Hookup.
It's terrible. Terrible. But he has a video that helps you set up your Ubiquiti system.
Oh, good.
It's called Set Up IoT VLANs and Firewall Rules with Unify.
I did it, but I will watch it to see if I did anything wrong. One thing I found, and excellent. I doubt he'll address this, is there are devices that have to be on the same network. The Sonos.
Oh, so he shows how to do that, and that's why he was my favorite.
Oh, I'll watch it.
I
printers.
put it in the chat room.
Printers. Most of my printers. So I set up a firewall rule that says traffic can go from the secure network to the IoT network, so we can control them, but not back, because I don't want any rogue traffic from my IoT network onto my secure network. But things like printers need two-way traffic. So what's going to end up happening, I know this is going to end up happening, I had to put all the printers onto the secure network. I had to put the Sonoses onto the secure network.
Everything's on the secure network now.
The segmentation is not going to work, but I will watch.
Nope.
I will watch that video and see. At least the June oven is on its own network. I don't need to control that. That's Thank you, Stacy. She just put the link in the show notes. I will be watching that.
Doorbell.
Is that your doorbell or my doorbell? That's yours?
No, it's my doorbell and my dog. Just ignore that.
The ubiquities are great, by the way, for all of that. I have to say, I've been very happy with that setup. While you're going to go get the door, I will do
I'm going to leave next.
I will do.
Ant, you need to go anywhere?
Ant, you want to go anywhere? Now's the time. This is it.
Normally I would go and refill, but I can just turn to my left and
You're going to have some more of that sweet tea?
Yes, sir. Please and thank you.
It's not sweet tea. I know what it is. Don't fool. You can't kid a kidder. Our show today brought to you. That's not sweet tea. Our show today brought to you by Cashfly. Actually, quite literally brought to you by Cashfly. It's our CDN, our content delivery network, and it's been delivering content for us for more than a decade. Actually, they've been innovating content delivery since 1999, more than 20 years. We've talked about some of the other features of Cashfly in the past. Let me tell you about ultra-low latency streaming. This is new from Cashfly. It's not the WebRTC solution that might have let you down in the past. Stream delays are under 1 second, but there are more perks. You can play anywhere. Their HTML5 player, don't worry about Flash. No, it's HTML5 offers easy support anywhere with an SDK available for even better mobile support, whether you need your player to run on websites, applications, mobile devices, or any other platform, they've got you covered. There's global delivery, and we've talked about this before. Cashfly is amazing. They've got over 50 points of presence all over the world, so there's certain to be a server close to your end user, and their low-latency network for your video streams will be streaming quickly wherever your viewers are, whatever continent they're on, and it scales infinitely. Cashfly's ultra-low-latency video platform can deliver video to more than 1 million users at the same time. That's actually remarkable. I remember when we first hit 100,000 streams, and I was like, it's gonna blow, Captain. It's gonna blow. 1 million concurrent users. It can also ingest thousands of synchronous streams. Their reliable ingest platform is designed for transmuxing thousands of streams simultaneously with live failover, RTMP, RTMFPS, SRT, whatever it is, and deliver low latency SLDP and HLS streams at the same time. Even better, you can get a solution tailored exactly to your needs. Get a custom-built solution that fits what you want to do, built on top of their reliable, robust global network with ingest and delivery wherever you need it. And, of course, the best support in the business. We love Cashfly. 24/7, 365 priority support. So no matter when you're streaming, Cashfly will be there to help you. Cashfly's infrastructure can support more than 1 million concurrent streams, and because of their reliable throughput and scalability, they're up to 5 times faster than those other guys. 5 times faster. It's the world's most reliable CDN, and it's backed by a 100% SLA guarantee. Cashfly also is helping others in need. I want to just give them a little pat on the back because they've been partnering with World Central Kitchen to serve warm meals to people in need. They've got a goal of getting to 300,000 warm meals. They've donated over $50,000 to date. They also pioneered the first Anycast CDN infrastructure way back in 2002, and their Best-Top technology automatically finds the fastest route to and from customer origin across their global network of POPs for maximum performance, maximum reliability. We love Cashfly. We know you will too. Here's a special deal just for you. If you have your CDN bill or your usage trends, bring them to Cashfly and see how much you can save. You may save as much as 20% with faster service. Go to twit.cashfly.com. Twit.cashfly.com. Thank you, Cashfly, for your support all these years, keeping us on the air. Twit.cashfly.com. It really is remarkable. You know, I come from broadcast media. When we first started doing this, the idea of doing this live was pretty, crazy. If you get
insane.
It's insane. The cost structure is
How you ever could have thought to do that?
I don't know. I was stupid. That's why this cost structure is completely upside down. With radio or TV, you build a transmitter, and then if 1 million people watch it or one person watches it, it costs the same. It doesn't matter. but that's the exact opposite of streaming. The more people take you stream, the more it costs you. So
Leo, did you start the same year as YouTube? 2005.
Yeah, but we weren't doing live streaming then. But that was probably somewhat of an influence on us. Yeah.
But also everybody said at the time that YouTube was insane. Google was insane. To
it
buy
didn't
them.
make sense.
It just doesn't scale, right?
Yeah.
And you went and did it.
I don't know what I was thinking. It's worked out all right. Now we got the new TriCaster, and it's kind of like a
new TriCaster.
Yeah, you like that? You've been playing with it, haven't you? You're getting trained on it.
It's quite nice, quite nice. Now, granted, there's a lot of stuff in there that we don't necessarily need, but man, that thing is pretty badass. I'll just say that.
Does John want to show anything off right now?
I don't know. Do you have anything set up? There's all sorts of. There's virtual sets, green screens. There's all sorts of interesting stuff. One of the things we are going to start to play with. Normally you can see I've got my laptop hooked up. I have to get a video out of it that goes into a converter. Actually, this has changed remarkably. When we first started doing Tech TV, the only good way we could get a screen on camera was to actually have a dedicated camera and camera operator.
To it. Yeah.
We'd put it on a on a TV because it was CRTs back then, and the camera operator had to aim his camera at it, and you had to pull the focus just right so you didn't get moire from the screen, and that's how we shot screens. And if you wanted to zoom in the camera, that's why I had to have an operator. You could zoom and pan on the screen. But by the time we started doing this 15 years ago, you could get a scan converter that you'd plug the thing into. But in the early days of that, it was real tricksy. You had to. The frame rate and refresh and all that stuff had to be just right. And then now I just put a little driver on the Mac and connect it to the internet, and using NDI, the network.
NDI.
Yeah, network. Is it distribution interface? Digital.
Yes.
Network digital interface. It just goes into I don't have to have a scan converter. It just goes into the board. Oh, it has an NDI scan converter? Is it a bit of hardware or software only? It's software. So it's really, things have changed quite a bit. And by the way, Jumping the Shark says we need instant replay. Ant, what is that little button on the thing there? There's an instant replay button.
It is instant replay, sir. It is instant
I don't know if we'll ever need it.
Oh, wait. Can we do that now? Can we do that?
No. We don't. A lot of this stuff we haven't set up.
I just did that.
We have to set the recording going. But I thought it'd be useful for me and Jeff.
I'll just press buttons all day.
I thought it'd be useful for me and Jeff. I could say, no, Jeff, you didn't say that. Let's roll the tape.
Go to the tape. Check the tape.
Oh, why don't we have this?
I know. Wouldn't that be fun?
Y'all. Big news.
What?
The person at my door was a gentleman coming to pull the fiber. So I had the conduit come. Today was the fiber.
Yay, God's
Next
work.
big step. Getting the CPU in. So getting it's the ONT that's going to actually.
The day the fiber got pulled.
Down there. It's right
Outstanding.
down there. It's going to be so amazing.
The day the fiber got pulled.
Although
Just
it was
a little
supposed to
jealous
happen
of you,
in
Miss
October.
Stacy. Just a little jealous.
Yeah, well, we have fiber here. Ant, when you come, you can use ours. It's okay.
I need it here.
I know.
And there's a
And
guy
you
that
are
drives
having-
through the neighborhood. I guess he works for the ISP
Sonic?
that provides fiber. Sonic, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, it tortures me every morning.
they don't offer it to
You
you?
have the
No,
option
it's not here
of
yet.
Sonic?
It's not here. It's not
Oh.
in my area.
I was
yet.
like,
it's coming.
Ant.
No,
We're
that's
doing
It's like
Petaluma
ethical
first.
broadband.
yeah. We love Sonic. Jane Jasper is a good friend, and actually, John has his gigabit Sonic, and we have Sonic 10 gigabit here at the studio. So, yeah, we're all over the Sonic. I love them. I wish everywhere in the country you could get Sonic. Right now, it's pretty
Is
much
today the 7th? Oh, no. Never mind.
tomorrow. Is that the day you get
Okay.
the fiber?
No, that's there's some news about something that's exciting on this topic.
Are you
but I'm not gonna tell
embargoed?
I'm embargoed.
Oh, man. How dare they embargo you? Hey, good news. Did you know Dave Recordin? Anybody know that name?
What?
No.
He was at Facebook doing open standards, open software at Facebook. He was vice president of infrastructure and security at the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. He did work briefly in the Obama White House. President-elect Biden has named him to be the chief technology officer. He's their chief technology officer for the transition team, and he will be the director of technology in OM, in the Office of Management Administration for the White House. He's going to be in charge
Management
of
budget.
No, it's not OMB. It's the Office of
Oh.
Management and Administration. I almost said OMB, and then I saw, no, it's not.
Okay.
But he will be in charge of White House information technology. Great guy. I've always loved Dave. Look at him. Can you see this guy in the White House? This is going to be awesome.
I love robots.
He has an I Love Robots t-shirt.
Great shirt.
Dave is a really great guy. I've always liked him a lot. And he's a big open source advocate. So that's a fantastic news. Very, very exciting.
Maybe he can talk Biden into not killing 230.
I think if Dave gets any time with the president-elect, I think he will probably help him out there a little bit. Let me explain this to you, Uncle Joe. Let's see. What else?
Oh, yeah. There's funny stuff, and we need fun stuff today. There's fun stuff in TikTok.
Something light with TikTok? Whatever happened to
Well,
TikTok? Did they shut that guy down?
TikTok still exists?
No?
Still exists. So, Ant, I'm sure you'd be proud to know that the Ratatouille the Musical not only aired, but it raised $1 million.
Oh, it raised a ton of money? Yes.
And then, Ann,
Ratatouille.
this will be your favorite part. It went away.
Right.
Is it too late?
I'm going to roll my eyes for half a
It's
second
too late.
because it is done and over with. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, it may
Then
be.
we have-
It may be done, but it's not exactly over with. Let me
They
just.
said they wouldn't screen it after.
Oh, no.
She claimed it was hers.
Okay, that's enough.
Wow.
Oh no, it's really good. Oh no, keep going. It's great.
Wow.
He takes little bits of drama in social media and turns it into songs. And
This
he's
is
the new hot thing on TikTok.
Lubalin. Social
He's a Canadian
media
singer.
drama converted to music. So he's reading tweets.
Yeah,
That's funny.
she stole my broccoli casserole recipe.
I love it. Okay. It's creative.
Although it is a kind of long-standing tradition to do comical readings of tweets, isn't it?
Yes.
Who was it had hate tweets? They bring
Mean
the-
tweets. Jimmy
mean-
Kimmel.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. The mean tweets. Yeah. Twitter. Did you mention this when you were talking about audio? Twitter buying Breaker?
Yes,
We
we
were
did, sir.
starting into that, but we needed
Oh,
your
we
wise,
started it, but did we ever finish
explanation
it?
of why?
It's I don't know. It's a social podcasting app called Breaker.
Oh, that's because you said it was the AR. So Jeff was like, I don't think.
I said that,
Basically,
yeah.
Jeff
He
was like, I
poo-pooed
don't
it.
think this audio is the big deal. I think social.
I think audio
is
chat.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting.
I don't know if it's for me. There's another service out there. I think it's called Polo or something like that. And this is what it reminded me of: is you giving people the ability to connect using audio instead of text, when just picking up the phone and calling would be just as good. I just don't quite get that.
The only slant I can add to this is the CTO of Breaker is the wonderful Leah Culver, who co-authored OAuth and OEmbed, and she was involved in Pounce, which was a Twitter clone that I really liked. She's very cool.
Kevin Rose, right? Wasn't Kevin Rose involved in that?
Yeah, he was involved, and so I'm really happy for Leah. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. Leah will be joining Twitter with a focus on Twitter Spaces, which is their audio-based social networking product. It's kind of like Clubhouse. I think the kids. Honestly, Jeff, it's not for you and me, but I think the youngs like it.
Wait.
I don't think it's
Here's
the
what I
kids.
understand.
I actually think it's people like
Yeah, no, it's not the kids.
our generation.
Yeah,
Old folks.
kids hate talking on this stuff.
That's what I heard
I'm
was in
not
Clubhouse.
old.
Was our age group was in Clubhouse?
Yeah.
But it was a
Getting
different
there.
It's people
set
who
of
like to hear
people.
themselves talk.
See, that's exactly why I am not a member.
Podcasters.
I don't want to hear anybody else talk. Anyway, So, yeah, that's good news. They'll shut down for good January 15th. And if you are a Breaker user, run over there and export your OPML file so you can transfer your subscriptions to another podcasting app. Interesting. Yeah. I think, Twitter has a history of doing this kind of thing and not necessarily, remember Vine? Not necessarily being able to manifest.
They just shut down Periscope.
Shut down Periscope last week, right?
Last week, yeah.
But I think they're smart to play with different things. They can afford it, right? Verification's coming back on the 20th. You could try to get verified.
Are you still verified, or did you quit?
I'm blue checked. I'm
going to try.
Yeah.
I probably don't have to try it now, but at one point there was a lot of people tweeting other Aunt Pruitts, confusing them.
Oh, it's always good to get the blue check.
Oh.
Yeah. Always nice to have the blue
check. I think Twitter reached out because I was at GigaOM and I got the
Yeah, you were at Giga. That's probably why, right?
Yeah. Yep, I was with a more famous publication. I don't know where that came from.
What was that
just
accent?
ignore me.
Where did that come from?
That was not Texas.
I think it was Annie Oakley, if I'm not mistaken.
That was my dad on a bad day.
I'm just a girl who can't say no.
How does Leo Laporte's brain work?
It doesn't. So here is, if you want to use your brain, an article that a number of people have referred to from BertHub.eu. It is reverse engineering the source code. Yes, source code of the Pfizer COVID vaccine. And it is, I highly recommend it. It is fascinating.
Will I understand any of it?
Yeah.
Wait, why does a vaccine have a source code?
That's what's fascinating.
Okay.
Because most vaccines are deactivated. Up till now, vaccines have basically been deactivated viruses that like the Salk vaccine, that you inject, and then your body, not knowing it's a deactivated virus, it's not a threat, it's dead, but your body creates the antibodies for that virus, to repel it. But the mRNA is much more interesting and much more sophisticated. And what's really interesting is very early on, the virus was sequenced. You remember this back in January, that the genome of the virus was released publicly. And it only took a week or two, I remember we did the story, for a couple of companies to create the vaccine based on the genome. Knowing that, the way an mRNA vaccine works is it basically is instructions to create the antibody that are injected into your body. And so having the genome, they could fairly quickly, within a few days, design the vaccine. All of the time from January till now was testing.
Yeah. It was almost instantaneous.
Yeah, it was almost instantaneous. Ben Thompson has a very interesting article on Stratechery saying that shouldn't take that long. We should have gone immediately to things like human challenge trials, which are dangerous because of the desperate need for this vaccine. We should have taken a riskier. Yeah, right. We should have taken.
Would you like to have a COVID person breathe on you?
As it turns out, if we had done that, we would have had the vaccine a lot earlier. But if, on the other hand, it was a dangerous vaccine that killed people, well, it wouldn't have been quite such a good result. So the BNT 162b2 mRNA vaccine code is published in this blog post. It's 4,284 characters. In other words, it would fit in about 10 tweets or 20 tweets. Somebody at the very beginning of the production process uploaded this code to get this, DNA printer, which converted the bytes on the disk to actual DNA molecules. Out of the machine came, awesome. Isn't this amazing? Came tiny amounts of DNA, which after a lot of biological and chemical processing end up as RNA in the vaccine vial. A 30 microgram dose turns out to actually contain 30 micrograms of RNA. It's entirely RNA. And then there's a lipid packaging system that gets the messenger RNA into our cells. So it's very much like a computer program being injected into your veins. And the RNA then instructs the cells to create this, I guess, analog of the virus. So anyway, if you're interested, I think, Stacey, you'd really dig this article.
I will read it.
The idea of a vaccine is to teach our immune system how to fight a pathogen without actually getting sick. Historically, it's been done by injecting a weakened or incapacitated virus plus an adjuvant to scare our immune system into action. That's why it used chicken eggs to make it, and it took a lot of time. The mRNA vaccine does the same thing, educate our immune system, but in a laser-like way. The injection contains volatile genetic material that describes the spike protein on the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The vaccine manages to get this genetic material into our cells, which then start producing SARS-CoV-2 spike proteins in large enough quantities that our immune system says, whoa, hold on, leaps into action. They're really not the virus, they're just the spike proteins, but the immune system develops a powerful response against multiple aspects of the spike protein, and you are protected.
Right.
And 95% protected. So it's a fascinating story. It really is. For people interested in digital technology, the analog is very close. It's very, very interesting.
Okay. So let's switch into moral panic mode. What could go wrong with this?
Well, you could stimulate a result you didn't, a reaction you didn't want.
Or you could,
It's just like any
there's
other
the issue
test.
of going too narrow, right? So you're training your immune system on the exact protein and then the exact spike pattern.
Or I'm asking in
and
the hands of a bad actor.
the virus evolves.
A bad actor.
Oh.
Well,
you could create. I mean, we already
create
have
a
synthetic
virus?
viruses out there.
yeah. I mean, one of the things
I mean,
that kills
that's
you
something we can
in these respiratory infections is a cytokine storm, an overreaction of the immune system. So I imagine that would be one thing you could do, is trigger an immune reaction that is fatal. But honestly, I think that was kind of part of Ben Thompson's point was that these mRNA viruses are not really that dangerous, not compared to other kinds of vaccines. And so
The concern of like an overreaction, yes.
yeah. So that maybe it would have been appropriate for us to literally fast track it, so that we could have had, this vaccine 6 months ago.
But not everyone was doing an mRNA vaccine.
No.
So do you change the rules? And the other thing is the mRNA vaccines were so poo-pooed by the established science
Oh yeah, for decades.
so long
Yeah.
that, it's easy to look back and say, oh, this is so safe. We totally should have done it differently.
Right.
But, and you could argue that we were at such risk. I'm sorry, the dog is going to keep going because there are people working outside, but we were at
Tell the
such
dog
risk
that person is doing God's
good.
work for you.
It's good stuff.
He's doing very important work. That person is a friend.
The dog's like, so you'll be on the internet more?
No. There are cats on the internet, doggy. Cats. Hey, here's
Sorry,
some good
I forgot
news.
to make my point.
Oh, make your point. I'm sorry.
I forgot it. I was like, dog.
Forgot.
Internet.
Point. Dog.
Like that on
mRNA,
Boa.
in hindsight, it's easy to say now, knowing that it isn't dangerous, that we should have done it quicker. Right? That was what you were starting to say.
Yes, and
But-
the question, the rest of that, I don't remember.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
so sorry, y'all.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Blame the fiber.
Blame the fiber. Good news, book publishers. Hey, maybe, Jeff, you should write a book. Thanks to COVID, business was better than ever.
Yes.
For hardcover, real dead tree books.
No.
Yes.
I guess because maybe people bought them, they didn't want to go to the library, and you had all this time, so you were like, during my pandemic, I will get so smart.
they were also
I will read
bored.
I think people
Sapiens.
reading more for sure, right? I read more. Print sales up 8%. However, audiobook sales up 17% year over year in
Which
2020.
you'd think would be more about commuting and stuff, and it's not.
No, and ebook sales, which have been declining. You know, that whole ebook revolution turned out not to happen.
It's the AR of printing.
Yes, the AR of printing. but last year, even ebook sales are up 16%.
Yeah.
I buy ebooks all the time.
I talked to my editor.
I like ebooks too. You know, for instance, I'm reading a marvelous science fiction trilogy right now.
Which one?
If you haven't read, do you know Peter F. Hamilton? Do you know his work? Oh, he's I think one of the great science fiction writers alive working right now. Read Fallen Dragon. That's a single volume one, a really nice one to start. Fallen Dragon by Peter F. Hamilton. But his most recent series is the Salvation trilogy. Sequence, yeah. It's a trilogy, but it's called the Salvation Sequence. But it's really good. But there are a lot of weird names and words. For instance, there is a race of genetically modified people that cycle between male and female. And so they have to have a pronoun for these people. And so it's instead of him or her, it's HIR. Instead of he or she, it's SIE. And when the audiobook, it's hear and see, but it's not clear what is so you have to read it, and then it kind of all makes sense. So I ended up buying
with Moat and God's Eye for that reason
fantastic,
right there.
Fantastic. So, but I like the audiobook, but I also want to see the text, and so the whisper sync with the Kindle and audio is really great, and it keeps track of where you are, so you can pick it up as you go. So I actually. I have been buying more ebooks this year, so I'm one of the people that helped ebooks increase 16% this past year. Been buying a lot more ebooks. They changed
my editor said they kind of pulled some stuff back to see how it was going to go, and then saw it was going all right and pushed back in.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
People were bored, like you said, and then there are some people that were inspired because of the additional free time from not having to commute and things like that.
There's another thing at work, and it certainly happened in podcasts, where because of the political climate and COVID and Black Lives Matter, a lot of people went and got books about those subjects.
The history, yeah.
Yeah. So political books
I was going to say,
sold
did
well.
they escape using?
No. Books about race relations sold really well. Bookstores according to the New York Times, had trouble keeping How to Be an Anti-Racist by Kendi or So You Want to Talk About Race by Oluo in stock. Books about President Trump have performed particularly well. The Mary Trump book sold more than 1.35 million copies in its first week. I have been loving, by the way, if you want a great audiobook, President Obama's A Promised Land, he reads it. It's in his voice. It's a really personal memoir of his life, his presidency. I think it's a just fascinating book. That sold 3.3 million copies in the last month. It's really good. I'm not surprised. And it's been a bestseller around the world, too, actually.
The only audiobook I've enjoyed, there were two. One was Trevor Noah's.
That's pretty good.
Because he does all that. He does all the
Born
accents, and that's way better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Born a Crime. I was like, something about crimes. And then Americana by, I'm going to screw her name up. It's a fiction book, though. But it is a story of a Nigerian immigrant, and it's all about race, and not just in the U.S., but primarily in the U.S., but a lot of it depends on the accents of the people who are speaking, and the actress who reads the book does all of the
That's
accents.
where audiobooks excel, don't they? That's really where they can be fantastic. Sometimes they call those full cast productions where they use...
No, this was a single
one
reader.
good reader, yeah. A good reader's really good. But there are also these fabulous full cast productions. You know, my favorite, it was one of my favorite novels. I don't think it was last year. I think it was 2 years ago. It was the one about, it was Lincoln and the Bardo. I don't know if you read that, by George Sanders.
I read that. Yeah, so everybody thought that was great.
I loved it. But you know what? Listen to the audiobook, because every character in that has a different reader. And so it's like listening to
audiobooks.
You would like this one. Try it.
Okay.
So Leo, I'm wondering about
link.
this. Here's a macho audiobook moment. I'm honestly
I was
debating
muted.
to put it on my wish list yesterday.
Say again?
The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
Oh, sure.
126 hours.
Scribble, scribble, scribber. Mr. Gibbon?
Yes. 126 hours. Should I do it?
No.
No.
But you know what's good? And I have been reading. It's not quite as long as The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It's quite good.
Is there a recent? Another friend of mine did that. Is it a new recording? I
don't think so.
Twitter just removed the president's tweets.
Oh, they removed it too.
With tweets, all of them?
Ooh.
No, just 2 of the most recent ones.
So it's interesting how they're getting a spine now.
Yeah. Well, just like
now
McConnell's
is
speech
if you
today.
don't have it now,
Right.
It's like
Right.
we're setting
they just took out the
democracy on
2.
fire.
This tweet is no longer available. This tweet is no longer available. I guess one of them was the video.
Yeah, one was the
One of them was
video.
the
That was
video.
the last one, and the one before that was he was saying, "Hey, take care of the police, law enforcement, something along those lines."
Oh, I thought it was something about the fraud and the sacred election. I was like the sacred and landslide election that was blatantly wrong.
I must have missed that tweet.
It was special.
It's amazing. What a world. But I do think that's why it was interesting the book sales were up. I think some of it was because of COVID-19, but I think also some of it was people trying to understand Black Lives Matter, what's going on in D.C. There was a kind of a seeking out of something that maybe was a little bit more thoughtful, reliable, detailed than just the day-to-day reporting we're getting. And I think that's actually true, and I think that's encouraging. Yeah, I think it's really encouraging.
Plus, they're experimenting with the form, right? John Ronson did his great butterfly effect thing, which was about the impact of free porn on all these people.
I remember that book.
I just listened to Unquiet, My Life with Beethoven.
Oh, I'll have to listen to that.
Biss. So it's an Audible original. Jonathan Biss, who's a concert pianist, who talks through from COVID on his anxiety about his decision in life to record all the Beethoven sonatas. And then you hear pieces of them, obviously. And so it's really very good. It's the only podcast, or the only audiobook I've listened to recently on 1.0 speed.
Now, see, I'm in an audiobook right now that it's a book that I've had it for a couple of years. I just never really got around to it. And I fired it up last week, and I'm halfway through it, and it's talking about a snowstorm that's just really wiped out a big part of New York City, a threat to the infrastructure. There's quarantine going on. And this book was from October 29th, 2013. And it's called Cyberstorm. And I'm reading this now and I'm thinking, wow, this sounds so familiar.
We appreciate that book. We recommended it a couple years ago.
I had it a little while ago and never cracked it open, and finally cracked it open last week.
So it's also a little bit of a reflection on
chilling.
how poorly the day-to-day media has done explaining and helping people understand what's going on.
I don't know about that.
No?
I think part of it is if you're seeking, the media is not super diverse. So I think if you're seeking actual authenticity and voices from people who are not just being explained by, like others, I think books are really your only option because the media has done such a bad job.
Okay. That's the same. And we agree. It's just another reason, right, to go deeper than what we were getting.
Advocate.
Okay.
If the media is not diverse, if you will, is that because of the leadership? Should we start there? Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure a lot of these anchors that are on the screens trying to present this information to the masses, a lot of times they disagree with what's being whispered in their IEM, saying, hey, we need to make sure we hit this point, that point, so on and so forth. But because of the way news is today and everything is sort of sensationalized for the clicks and for the views, it's just a big old freaking mess if nobody can trust it.
I think there's a dearth of voices because for a long time to make it in the media industry, you had to have money. And you had to have money because you had no paid internships. So, you had to be willing to work for free or very little for. And then there's also discrimination in the newsroom. I sat in a news meeting at Fortune. One of my jobs was every morning we had a meeting to talk about what we're going to run that day and working on. And the entire white male editor, the top editors, there was one woman, they were like, what's microaggressions? And then they proceeded to make fun of the concept of microaggressions while every single person, like all the youngest staffers were just like...
Yeah.
I think that the thing to remember is that media is no different than just corporate America. It is corporate America.
Yeah.
It's corporate America with a camera and a microphone, but it's corporate America. So it's prone to the same exact deals. Those things that you just described, Stacey, are happening in every boardroom in America.
Amen.
And just
But media is supposed to have a different.
It's supposed to, but it doesn't.
And it doesn't.
MSNBC is
so
owned by
liberal.
NBC, which is owned by Comcast. I mean, it's all corporate.
Absolutely right.
It's corporate America with a microphone and a camera. So why would you expect it to be any different?
I've tried to
And
tell
it's a
my
lack
family.
of life experience.
That too, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You would expect reporters to have a little bit more life experience, but I don't think you're right. I don't
Well,
think we
when
set it up that
only
way.
hire white reporters, you're
Right.
not going to. So there's a wonderful, wonderful book I recommend by Lewis Raven Wallace, who's a transgender journalist who was at NPR, who got fired from NPR because he wouldn't high to their standard of objectivity. And he was always told, "Oh, you can't cover that story about trans or gender issues because you're biased."
Because you're
Right?
trans. Oh,
Right.
great.
And-
Because you
and
know
so-
something about it. Yeah.
Exactly. Versus white people covering white people because
Right.
can do that because that's normal, right? In their definition. And what he makes an eloquent point about how you've just rejected the lived experience that would help your cover. You've devalued it down to nothing so that your coverage has none of this now. And I don't know if we talked about this in the show before, but also I'd recommend to anybody interested in this, Wesley Lowery, who was a Pulitzer Prize winning Washington Post reporter covering the police killings of people who left the Post because he got in an argument with Marty Barron over his tweets. Then he wrote an op-ed about 3 months ago in the New York Times that objectivity is fundamentally racist. Because it is people who look like me, old white men, who decide what is objective. They decide what is bias. They decide what is normal. And
Or they
that
just
whole
decide what's-
structure is systematically biased.
And they decide what's interesting. So I put things
Oh,
in
yes.
my stories that also, like, when I use she as my pronouns for people who, like, just like, if I'm talking about the
Indeterminate.
user, when she
Right.
does this, right? They get that's he is the default, right? And
They did?
when I talk
Right.
about, oh yeah, and I mean, I've been doing this a long time, Jeff, 20 years. They might not do it today
Yeah,
because
that's
I own
true.
my
That's
own
true. Okay,
publication,
yeah,
but.
right.
And then there's things like just a few months ago, my IEEE editor, I had stuck something in my story. It was about domestic violence, actually, in the smart home. And it was not an aside, but it was a small paragraph. And, he was like, oh, I don't know if our readers really want to hear about this. And I was like, they may not want to, but they totally should.
But
and
they,
I think
but
that's...
they about to.
And he was like, that's a really good point. I'll bring that up. And one of the reasons IEEE hired me to do this column is because up until that point, all of their columnists were really old white men. Now they've got a semi-old white woman. It's sort of progress.
It's a step.
So, Ant, to answer your question too, Ant, with more depressing data here, the Newspaper Association, or the whatever it's called, they change the name all the time. NLA, NLA, I think. Newspaper something or other. NLA. The newspapers won't even answer the surveys of the diverse numbers in their newsrooms. And numbers is the least of it, right? That's not inclusion, and that's not equity. Just how many? They're so embarrassed after all these generations of having made no progress, they won't even fill out the survey for the industry. That's how bad we are.
I'm not even looking at it from a race standpoint. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of you have to look at all of the different point of views. If there's a story about a football team, I don't know, just some random football team, check with different sources. And I try to tell my family, and particularly with my boys, you can check other sources for this information. Don't just depend upon ABC or NBC. Don't just depend upon me, because sometimes I'm going to shoot you a bunch of bull crap just to make you look it up and verify it. So just check all of the sources.
Let's do a little Google changelog in just a bit. I want to reintroduce our fine panelists. Stacey Higginbotham. Stacey on IoT. Her newsletter's free. There is absolutely no reason not to subscribe to it.
Well, that's not a very positive way to put it.
Wow.
Jeez, I tried to think of every reason not to subscribe, but I couldn't think of any. So, you might as well.
No reason you shouldn't be getting it.
No,
you must get it. You must get it. It's wonderful. I'm just teasing. I'm glad you picked up on that. Stacey on IoT.com. She also does events. Highly recommended in her podcast with Kevin Toffel. Jeff Jarvis is a blogger at buzzmachine.com and the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the blah, blah, blah.
Craig
Newmark, blah, blah, blah. School of Journalism at the University of New York,
That's
blah, blah,
fine.
blah. Former TV Guide critic.
That's the important part. That's done.
Aunt Pruitt, hands-on photography, and Sweet Tea Lover.
That's right.
Yeah. I might just call you
Lots of
Mr.
sugar.
Sweet Tea. Mr. Sweet Tea.
No, I don't know about that. That has a different connotation. Where I'm from.
Really? Really? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Mr.
we're
Sweet
not going
Tea.
to go there, sir.
All right. And now it's time for the Google changelog.
The Google changelog.
Finally, smart comments. Google has added smart compose and autocorrect to comments.
This is how sparse our changelog is this week. This is news.
That is pathetic.
It's just January.
It's just January. By the way, I slagged Google on MacBreak Weekly yesterday for not. I repeated the Fast Company story that Google hadn't updated any of its apps since mid-December because if they knew that the Apple rule was if they did, I think it was after December 6th, they would have to include the privacy nutrition statement and be subject to the privacy yes/no questions that Apple does for all iOS apps. And Google didn't want to do that. But that was calumny. Because, in fact, as it turns out, Google, like many companies, doesn't release new products during the holiday period because they don't want showstoppers bringing their employees back from their nice holidays. So Google said, no, we got all the updates. We're going to put them out in the next week or two. And yes, of course, we're going to adhere to all the Apple privacy rules. So apologies, Google. That was not a fair commentary. Google is releasing a monitoring query language for cloud monitoring. No.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
I put that in there. I thought, can even you find something interesting in this one?
No. Wear OS. Remember that? Remember there used to be this thing, was it called an Android Wear Watch that had Google Android Wear operating system? Remember that?
The one that
it's the
where it
worst.
only just told
It's
the time,
the worst.
just barely.
It just
That
never,
one?
it got so slaughtered by Apple in the marketplace that even Google is embarrassed to admit that it exists.
It's the AR of time.
Everything's going to be from now on. It's going to be the AR of. Wear OS is about to gain support for tiles, third-party tiles. Woohoo!
Did we say that did we ever talk about the EU approving the Fitbit deal? That's not really a changelog.
No, they did. I didn't know that.
No, that's good. So Google, is that the last hurdle to Google acquiring Fitbit?
I believe it might be.
Till they get
All right.
broken up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like, who knows with an incoming
Google
things could change.
Podcast web client adds simple subscriptions feed. This is the worst changelog ever. January update for the Pixel 5, 4a, and 5G. Improves auto brightness and
Let's stop the presses.
auto rotate.
I hope it improves the touchscreen functionality if you have a screen protector on.
Oh, yeah. But so that's something Samsung does. They have a setting in the settings that says increase sensitivity because I've got a screen protector on there. I guess Google never put that in. They should put that in.
I hope that happens this month.
And now, for those of you who like to hold up your laptop and scan QR codes, there is now a QR scanner in the Chrome OS camera app.
Is that you, Mr. Jarvis?
Would you ever do that? You'd never scan a QR code with your laptop.
Well, I can't figure out how to do it on my phone, so I'm worshiping.
Bad enough. And that, of all things, is the worst Google changelog ever.
It does not deserve drums.
It does not deserve
It
the
did not
drums.
deserve drums, no.
No.
Crickets.
It deserved a bongo.
We should mention that Samsung bongo. Hey man, hey, let's do that. It's time for the Google changelog.
Did you reinstate our theme song?
I did. We're back to the silly flutes. So this is January 6th. A week from tomorrow, Thursday, January 14th, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, Samsung will announce the new Galaxy S21. And it is a little early for us, 7 a.m., so I'm not going to get up, but I'm going to make Jason Howell and company cover that Samsung Unpacked event. We will
Have at it,
stream
Mr. Howell.
Have at it. Have at it.
Price of Android, fella.
Yeah, that's right. You want to be our Android expert? You get to get up and and watch the big Samsung Galaxy Unpacked event. Judges in the UK has prohibited the extradition of Julian Assange to the United States, where he is charged with espionage under the Espionage Act. The judge said that Assange was at extreme risk of suicide. And so,
He came to the U.S., yes.
yeah, if he came to the U.S., so you can't have him.
That had been used in another case recently, so I think they happened upon that. I don't know what the word is, defense, but argument. But because he spent 6 years in the Ecuadorian embassy, he lost out on getting bail. Because he's a flight.
So does that mean he will stay in prison in the UK?
He's going to stay in prison. Yep.
In the UK.
Until they appeal.
That's fine. Mostly, the charge is kind of bogus in the U.S. If found guilty on all counts, he could face up to 175 years in prison. But mostly what it looks like he did is encourage somebody to hack the DNC in a chat room conversation. He didn't actually hack it.
He's a jerk of jerks, and everyone who's worked with him will say that.
Wait,
but
he didn't go on Twitter and incite a riot in the U.S. Capitol?
Exactly.
No.
That's something.
Oh my goodness!
No, that's legal if you're president.
He didn't have his kid try to use a can opener to open a can of beans. I mean, that's.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're not talking about Bean Dad.
Bean
no.
Dad.
No.
Bean
I
Dad.
refuse. I refuse.
Bean Dad.
First of all,
Jeff, why?
John Roderick. We know John Roderick. He does a podcast with Merlin Mann. I don't know him personally, but a lot of people I know, like Marco Arment and Jonathan Colton, Judge John Hodgman, and of course Merlin Mann, say he's a comedian, and that whole Bean rant, which I never read, about not letting his daughter eat until she learned how to use a can opener to open a can of beans, was intended as comedy. He also has some earlier tweets that are anti-Semitic and weird, but again, intended as sarcastic comedy. And as you said, Stacy, in some situations, sarcasm plays poorly.
But there were a few threads that I thought were very good and informative about people who've gone through abusive parental relationships.
Exactly. He did not understand.
There was a lesson to be had here.
Yes,
exactly.
and he took that lesson.
He's
He
now said that.
apologized profusely and killed his Twitter account. This is why no one should ever have a Twitter account, ever.
Hey.
I'm just saying. Is Jack Ma? Has he been disappeared, or is he just lying low?
We don't know.
We don't know. The founder of Alibaba and probably the richest man in China hasn't been seen in many weeks.
There was wasn't there another high-paid or rich person in China that's been missing as well?
I think this is him.
A group, right?
Oh, yeah, some other billionaires might have disappeared. He was very critical of the regime. Now, according to CNBC, he has been found. He is not missing. He is merely lying low.
Oh, okay. Enjoying his money.
Yeah.
No, I think it's his government's been like, hi. Fly low. And he's
Fly
like,
low.
got it.
Yeah. He was really pretty critical of the Chinese regime, which, even if you're the richest man.
Critical.
I don't know. They're sensitive. You can't even say that
Well,
Premier
I
Xi
know. I mean,
looks like Winnie the Pooh. So they're sensitive. Anyway, he's still the richest man in China for now. Do you like OpenAI's sketching abilities?
they're not terrible. Well, some of them aren't.
They're better than my
But
sketches
who would
be.
decide to build all this technology to have a radish walk a dog? That's where we've
Who
come.
wouldn't decide that? I mean, come on.
This is Stacey.
Radish with a skirt.
Tell me about this GPT-3 thing. What is this?
Oh, the artificial intelligence. That's the writing one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Or
that's
is
the
it
one
all?
that's been writing news stories that are indistinguishable from actual
Yeah.
journalists' reports. It can write original passages of text given a short prompt.
It's the GAN. I mean, it's a GAN, so it's generative learning. Yeah, and is that the one they didn't want us to release?
They
way
didn't.
Back with,
OpenAI created it,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to release the source code or how it worked.
So, and then the what's it
Are we still
called?
talking about the turnip?
Well,
No, okay. So
Yes.
the turnip is Dale.
So now we're into
Or,
dangerous
sorry,
No,
turnips?
Dall-E.
Dall-E after Wall-E, except it's also a play on Salvador
No,
Dall-E.
it's Dolly. Oh,
Dolly,
yeah.
get it? It's a
It's-
surrealist, it's a Dadaist play on a Pixar character.
What GPT-3 is to language and generating words, DALL-E is to turning language into images.
Yeah.
And it's also a generative thing created by OpenAI. And yeah,
So this is where instead of writing a paragraph of text based on a prompt, it does a drawing based on a prompt. These drawings are from the prompt: a can of soup that has the word Skynet on it, which is kind of funny all by itself. And there it
I
is.
like
There's
that it has a tab on
it's
the
a
top
yeah,
instead
it's
of
easy
having
open.
the
It's an
whole
easy
You
open
can
can
just
of
slurp
soup.
that soup
Yep,
down.
yep. It can take unrelated concepts that are nothing alike and put them together into a functional object. Says
that's why you have the radish walking the dog.
That's a
It's
functional.
a test on how.
Exactly. Yeah. So what was the prompt on the radish walking the dog? An illustration of a baby daikon radish in a tutu walking a dog. Well,
See?
that's it.
I mean, that's pretty good.
And that,
Nailed it.
so
Save
what's
us from literal minds.
what's remarkable about this is these are three completely unrelated concepts: daikon radish, tutu, walking a dog, and it was able to synthesize those into an image.
That's impressive.
I guess. Got to take
It
the
is.
Impressive that a computer
Imagine-
can do that.
So, yeah, think about.
Because kids do that
think
all the
about,
time.
Well, yes. My kid could do better than this computer.
And then, of course, we got to do a little 2:30 news. Mike Masnick all up in arms. He says, and I didn't see it, so I can't comment, that the 60 Minutes piece on Section 230 was completely bogus and wrong.
Mazurk was in fine form, though. Boy.
Fine. Moral panic, you called it.
Fine fiddle.
Yeah, he said it. I didn't. He said it.
He said moral panic.
Clear.
And then you have a piece in on your blogs, also I presume on Medium, Speechless, an allegory for our time, with a New Yorker cover from 2018 of a woman with
My effort to. It's kind of Jeff does sci-fi.
Oh, what is it? So this is fiction?
Imagine a world where 230 and other things have happened, and so the character goes to see his editor, and discovers that he has to pay to have a fact checker take out all the facts because nonfiction is too risky, and pay for your speech insurance, and that it costs more now to write than to read.
What it would be like without Section 230. Your post-230 dystopian novel, buzzmachine.com. I think we can safely say that Section 230 is safe for the time being. In fact, some say because of the Democrats' win in Georgia that maybe even net neutrality might come back. That now that the Democrats control the Senate, President-elect Biden can nominate candidates for instance, the chairman of the FCC that would be a little harder to get through a Republican Senate.
You say
Yeah,
in,
but
when you say for the time being, you mean as in just for 2021? It's safe for now. I think it's going to take a little bit longer.
Well, no, we don't have net neutrality right now. The FCC overturned it 2 years ago. So
no.
it
What
could
if
come
instead
back.
of doing
Section
net-
230. Section
Oh,
230.
230. Yeah, I feel like the assaults on 230 were all kind of political posturing, and none of them got enacted into a law,
We'll
right?
see. No, I'm very.
Are we talking
worried.
about net
Very worried.
neutrality
Look at
or
the 60
Section
minutes.
230?
Both.
230.
230 first.
I tune out when we talk about
230,
230.
Oh,
230.
okay.
Net
Tune
neutrality
back in.
alpha.
Let's talk about net neutrality.
Okay. I'm coming back. Okay.
In other words, well, we already saw it. It's just a rumor, but that Merrick Garland will be nominated for Attorney General, a candidate that would not have been nominated had the Republicans continued control of the Senate, because Biden would have to nominate somebody that would be more likely to get past muster.
Well, plus, it's just too embarrassing to finally talk to the guy you wouldn't talk to.
Yeah, right. But the thinking is perhaps the same thing will happen with the chairman of the FCC, and perhaps if Dave Recordon can convince Uncle Joe that net neutrality is a good thing, maybe we can make some progress there. I think Biden does support net neutrality. I know he's kind of iffy on 230, but I don't want to put Stacey to sleep.
Oh, no. I'm not. My brain can't focus on all
I
of
know
that.
what you mean.
230 is just.
I know what you mean.
I dumped it.
Yeah.
There's smart people who deal with that already.
Let them deal with it.
I would say, actually, instead of dealing with net neutrality I think we should actually, God help us, revamp the Communications Act of 1996.
That includes Section 230, by the way.
Stacey, you're bringing it back up here. See, you tried to say.
I know.
Stacey,
I know, but
Stacey.
I was trying to be honest to what we really need to do, even if it sucks for me personally because of 230.
Yeah.
Read
But
my
I do
piece.
think that. Okay, I'll read it. I mean, I know enough about it to know what it is and what it isn't, and I just don't want to think about it anymore.
No. But I think much
I'm
of
an independent publisher.
America has now been misinformed by that 60 Minutes piece, which was
Yeah, but it doesn't matter
factually just
because
wrong.
they
But you're
don't
right.
care.
Nobody cares. You're right. It's
One
just
day-
us.
Yes.
Just us that care.
My piece is set in 29 when we have the next pandemic, which I called
Movid. Movid 29.
Nice.
It sounds like a light beer. All right.
Jeff, I put this in there. Oh, I was going to just say, when we were talking about media and diversity, actually, are you familiar with the 19th News down in
It's
Texas?
great. They are spectacular.
Okay.
What is it?
Just making sure.
It is. Stacey, you brought it up. Go ahead.
It is a new publication. It's a nonprofit newsroom that's actually doing a lot of hiring right now. If you are a woman in journalism, from the point of view,
it's just for
of
women.
a first group of women.
Oh.
Well, no,
It's
it's
aimed at
women
women.
reporting the news.
Yes, and issues that matter to women, and not that all life doesn't. And it comes from two veterans of Texas Tribune, and they're amazing and brilliant and wonderful. And this is a great effort.
And I'm excited about journalism in Texas. Texas
Yes.
Tribune, big, cool model. And then we've got this. There's probably other experiments I'm not aware of, but go Texas. I'm proud.
Is this in Austin or where?
Yes,
I'm curious.
Yes.
because that's where Texas Tribune is. So they kind of just
Okay.
And is it named after
Well, that's
the
where all of Texas media really,
19th
Texas
Amendment,
Monthly's
yes.
there.
19th Amendment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prohibits the states
Cool.
from denying the right to vote to citizens of the United States based on the basis of gender. Let us...
And if you go to the paper,
Yes?
just one last thing. I love the dress that in the About Us section that the lady is wearing because it's awesome.
I'm going to have to now. I'm going to have
Just
to
so
go
you
see our mission, our team.
Yeah, I think so. Hold on. 19thnews.org about.
About.
It's a newspaper-themed wrap dress. Who couldn't
Oh,
love
look at that.
Oh yeah,
That
she's
is pretty
great.
cool.
In
She's on,
German. Nonetheless.
that? Oh, yes.
So
I
it-
saw her wear it actually. She's on MSNBC constantly. She's brilliant, and she's been covering Georgia.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Erin Haynes.
Erin
Very
Haynes
nice.
is really good.
Haynes.
Very
That's
nice.
the founding team.
Neat.
Plug, Stacey.
I didn't know this. 10 million more women than men voted in 2016. 73.7 million.
Well, once again, women are saving us, and African American women are saving us, and debts are due.
You know what else is due? Our picks of the week coming up next. Stacey's filing. I'll wait.
I'm typing in the chat room.
She does like a loud keyboard. She really loves a loud keyboard. She's admitted it.
Someone pointed out that Austin is the only Democratic stronghold in Texas, and that's absolutely not true.
No.
So I just wanted to bring
Texas, like Georgia, is starting to swing. Starting to swing. There is a new.
I have a toy.
Do you have a Macintosh, by the way?
I do.
There's a new app you might enjoy.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
I talked about it on Mac Break Weekly. It's called Unclack, and you leave it running on your Mac, and when you're in a Zoom call or maybe doing a podcast, and it mutes your microphone whenever you type.
Oh, I just am constantly on mute, but I am totally getting that.
Unclack. Unclack.app.
me.
Unclack me. Stacey Higginbotham, your... Oh, wait. Your pick of the...
She can't talk now. Somebody's wrong on the internet.
Nope, I'm right here, and I have a thing.
Your pick of the week. Go ahead, Stacey's thing.
All right, one of my goals this year, and y'all are hearing about it first. Not even my regular people know this.
Hey, are we regular people? Jeez.
Sorry, my IoT newsletter subscribers and podcast
Okay, that's
listeners.
better.
There's absolutely no reason not to subscribe to that. Have I mentioned that?
Yes, there's no reason.
No reason.
One of my goals this year is to make the really boring parts of my house smart. So I'm looking at, the flow or fin water leak detection monitors, whole home leak detection monitors. I'm looking at breaker box monitors, things like that, because I'm really interested in how we can actually make our buildings smarter and more adaptive for energy conservation, for better health outcomes for people. So I'm automating the boring stuff, with apologies to Tony Fidel. And one of those things is my water heater. So I just got
That is boring. That's very boring.
It is boring.
Yeah.
But the water heater
Until
uses
it stops working.
the second. Well, yeah, that too. It uses the second largest amount of electricity in your home for most homes after HVAC.
Do you have an electric
HVAC,
water
number
heater?
A lot of people
Yes.
do.
Because I have a gas water
A lot of people
heater.
do.
Oh, okay.
I had electric in
And-
Charlotte, but it's gas.
You know what? My
Yeah.
water heater does use a lot of electricity because I have a recirculating pump on it. And that probably uses more electricity than anything else in the house. So
Okay. And there's a big push for whole home electrification in California. I'm sure you're aware of that.
yes,
It's a big thing.
because we generate
so,
our own
yes.
electricity on our roof. So we would like to do that, actually.
Yeah. So this is the device. This is going to go on your water heater. It's going to measure a couple things. Mostly it determines how hot it gets. And it learns over time to understand the times you need hot water.
Oh. So it
but it
doesn't
also-
heat the water unnecessarily.
Right. So it keeps the temperature. I mean, it never lets it never turns it off, but it lowers the temperature
Right.
that you want to maintain it at, which saves a lot of electricity, because keeping water hot is chemically.
What's the name of that?
Aquanta, Aquanta. Rheem, RHEEM, makes one because they're a big water heater manufacturer. Whirlpool has started to introduce smart water heaters, but this one retrofits to just about any electric one out there and many gas ones. And it's a fairly quick install. I say this now, theoretically. I haven't installed it yet because it just arrived, but I can tell you more about it after that. But it's turn the power off, you pop it on, you attach the sensors to the outside of the two water lines, in and out, and then you attach a sensor somewhere else. And that is, yeah. So that's what I'm
Nice.
doing. It's
It also-
$129.
It also tells you how much hot water is available.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing.
That's
it's in the app.
useful.
Oh, now that's nice.
Yeah.
It lets you see your hot water usage, and I believe it'll actually let you set rules like eventually you can chop your kid's shower off after like 20 minutes.
It's suddenly
Yes.
good.
Buddy.
Dad, the shower's
Yes.
cold. Oh, that's
So-
good. That'd just be fun.
I'm always yelling about
That'd just
that.
be just for a little fun.
Yes.
I'll give you some breaking news.
Yes.
expanding on your previous breaking news about Twitter, it's gone further.
Well,
They just tweeted, as a result of the unprecedented ongoing violent situation in Washington, D.C., we've required the removal of 3 real Donald Trump tweets that were posted earlier today for repeated and severe violations of our civic integrity policy. Second, this means that the account of real Donald Trump will be locked for 12 hours.
Oh, holy moly.
Following the removal of these tweets. If the tweets are not removed, the account will remain locked.
Well, you
Third,
know he's not going to remove those tweets.
future violations of the Twitter rules, including our civic integrity or violent threats policies, will result in the permanent suspension of the real Donald Trump account.
man.
At last.
Well,
Okay, so now my question for you all. Will Twitter as a whole get a little bit more quieter, or will it get even louder now if this suspension happens to
I
go
think for a
through?
little while people will be loud. I mean, you can already see his supporters saying, "Oh, this is unfair." La 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 la.
Yeah.
Censorship.
I've already seen doctored screenshots of his tweets saying, "This wasn't so bad, was it?" So I think we're going to see a lot of kerfuffle. But if they stick to their guns, you suck the oxygen from the room, and maybe they'll go to parlay.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
They don't like it there because they can't rile up people, and that's the goal.
right.
Yeah.
And of course, this will now be the most important issue for the President of the United States for the next couple of weeks. So that's a good thing, too. Give him something to distract him. Jeff Jarvis, a number. How about a number?
Oh, we've got such a panoply of digits.
Panoply of digits.
We have a panoply of digits.
Is that how you say that word?
How else would you say it? Panoply?
Panoply.
Okay, I
Panoply.
just grew up reading, but I didn't realize that.
Okay. How do you pronounce panoply?
That's pronounced panoply.
That seems
I
a
win.
little tautological, but okay.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yes.
Like, wait a minute.
Hey, okay. How do you pronounce panoply?
That's pronounced panoply.
Very good.
But
Very
see,
good.
so the challenge is you have to know you're saying a word wrong to ask it.
No, I just
No.
said it wrong and it
Just
said it
don't
right
know,
to me.
you just don't know how. Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, like, if I learned a word by reading it,
You could probably spell
I'll
it.
try one.
Spell
Okay.
it.
How do you pronounce epitome?
That's pronounced epitome.
See?
okay, good. I was like, oh my God, it's pronounced epitome?
Now that would be a shock.
Well, Stacey, that's the word when I read it in my mind's ear. I hear epitome and I have to say, no, you idiot. It's epitome.
Oh, Jeff, I went through like a good portion of my life saying silhouette and facade.
What even is that?
What is silhouette?
What
It's
is
a
silhouette?
silhouette.
Oh, silhouette.
Like,
Silhouette.
totally different words in my mind.
What was the second one, Stacey?
Yeah, exactly. Facade.
Facade.
It's such a facade.
Oh, it's a facade.
It sounds like it's Yiddish.
She missed
I like
the
that. It's
Sadia.
Yiddishization.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, that's
All right,
what happens
so
when you
electric cars
Yes.
are now 54% market share in oil-rich Norway.
Yes.
Academics studied Twitter and found that 2020, surprise, surprise, was the unhappiest year on Twitter in 12 years.
Yes. They must have been
And
following
Bitcoin
me. Yes.
passed a record on its 12th birthday.
Oh yeah,
Twitter's happier
$34,000. Actually, didn't it get up to 40?
That's what I thought, but the story said it was the Guardian
30,
said it was
it's
a
at
record.
37 now. So, wow, that means I have $250,000 hidden away in a Bitcoin wallet that I can't access.
So, in other words, you allegedly have $250,000 sitting around somewhere.
Aunt Pruitt, let's move on. What's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week, if you are a subscriber to Hands On Photography, my show here on Twit, you know on episode 47, we talked about macro photography. And I mentioned my friend Don Kamarechka. Well, he recently had a segment on DP Review of doing macro photography of snowflakes. And he gave you pretty much a behind-the-scenes look of him going out in the snow with his camera and snapping shots and walks you through the
He
post-processing.
does beautiful stuff.
And it's a great behind-the-scenes look of it. But if you
I
click on that
love
image, it takes you to the video, and that's Don Com right there, the mad scientist.
Look at that lens. Oh, that's gorgeous. Nice. But that's only
And
one.
also-
Aunt always gives us two.
Yeah, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ant Pruitt.
YouTube.com/Ant Pruitt.
I can't think of a reason not to do that.
I can think of
Wait
no
a
reason why you should not subscribe.
No reason not to do it. I do need to fix something. I said very kind of muddled in there that the Aquanta thing was 129. It's actually 149, y'all.
Yes.
So-
We actually showed the website where it says 149. So even as you were getting it wrong, we were laughing at you.
Yeah, ha, ha, ha.
But we put on a good facade.
Yes.
I was a little
Excellent.
annoyed
Yes.
I was annoyed when she said ream that I knew exactly what she was talking about. How many water heaters have burst in my lifetime?
Ream.
that I knew what
Exactly. Same here. I was thinking the
RH.
same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. You've been reamed by your ream.
Yes.
That's Ant Pruitt. He's the host of Hands On Photography, twit.tv/hop.
That's
Hop.
right.
Thank you, Ant. And, of course, youtube.com/Ant Pruitt.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Jeff Jarvis is the director of the Townhead Center for
yeah.
Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark
Craig
Graduate School of
Newmark
Journalism
Graduate School of Journalism.
at the City University of Ratatouille. And he
And
blogs at
former-
buzzmachine.com. And former TV, go ahead, say it with me, Ant. Former TV Guide critic.
And
So
scourge
Washington
of Frank
Post is looking for a
Sinatra.
TV critic.
He's just a bum,
and-
according to Frank
I'm a
Sinatra.
bum. I'm a bum.
Frank Sinatra says he's a bum.
That'd be great to have that if I do get a next book published on the blurbs.
Yeah.
Bum.
Bum.
Frank Sinatra.
Kudos
Totally.
to Jammer B.
How
for
can
the
you
lower
not
third
have
updates.
used that?
How could I
That
not do
is
that?
so awesome. That's like the best thing ever. And that's Stacey Higginbotham, StaceyOnIoT.com. That's where you'll find that fabulous newsletter and, of course, your podcast with Kevin Toffel. The three of them and I do this thing called Twig every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. Please join us. You can watch it live at twit.tv/live. There's also a live audio stream. If you're doing that, chat with us at irc.twit.tv. On-demand versions of the show available at twit.tv/twig. We have our very own YouTube channel for this week in Google. Yep, there it is. And you can subscribe. That's the easiest thing to do in your favorite
forget, Leo.
podcaster. What's that?
Forget.
Don't forget?
You forgot
I forgot?
the survey.
Yes.
Survey.
This is the beginning of the year. Every year we do this as a way to get to know you better. It helps us sell advertising, also helps us to refine our programming. So please, if you will, take advantage of the survey. It shouldn't take you too long. twit.tv/survey21 for our 2021 audience survey. And don't feel like you have to answer every question, or if a question doesn't fit, don't worry about it. Whatever you can do to help is great. We don't collect information about you, so this way we can, if you volunteer the information, we can use it to help us sell advertising, and that helps us stay on the air. Thanks everybody for
You
joining
get this
us.
wonderful content for free.
You get it for free.
I tell you, for
For
free.
free. That's it for Twig. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.